Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. I come to you every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Central Time here on Fishbowl Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about my guest today. She is in a field that, people always have kids that come in and they do drone competitions and stuff like that. This lady is an entrepreneur that has made this into her life's work and her business. And I was telling Gabe the other day, I said, I didn't know this existed. That's why I'm so excited to talk to this young lady. So my guest today is Roxane. She is the owner and founder of Black Girl Drone World, and she is calling in. So, Roxane, would you say hello to our guest?
Hello, everyone. It's such an honor and privilege to be with you all today.
Well, Roxane, hey, I am so happy to have you here. What's the weather like where you are?
Well, you know what? It's a beautiful day in Atlanta, 80 degrees. I cannot complain.
Well, it finally cooled off here in Texas. So I'm not complaining either. I got some rain. My garden is looking good. My kale, my collard greens, my peppers, and my basil are looking fabulous. So I'm happy today. But hey, when you're retired, you find like 20 other things to do other than what you should be doing. So.
Well, spending time in your garden is time well spent. I am a fellow gardener, so I'm right there with you.
Okay. I'm not going to complain then. So, Roxane, I've told them that you're founder and owner of Black Girl Drone World. Would you, before we get started into talking about the company, I want them to know a little bit more about you.
All right. So my name is Roxane Romulus. As you mentioned, founder and CEO of Black Girl Drone World. We have been in business about 6 years. Our motto is that we are where girls of color take flight. Mm-hmm. We are a drone education company. We focus on walking women and girls, so we start as young as 8 all the way through adults. The concepts of avionics, aerodynamics, and a career in aviation, all specifically focused on drones. Okay.
Now, what did you do before you got into drones?
Interestingly enough, my background has been risk management.
Okay.
So I've been a corporate executive probably for the last 15, 20 years mm-hmm. of my life, and decided to take a chance and a shot on myself and transition out of corporate America and into full-time entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's amazing. A lot of us are doing that these days, but it's trying to find that niche, that thing that, one, excites us, and two, that supports us, and 3, that can continue to support us. So, how did you get into drones?
So, I have a very interesting path, as I do with everything that I do in my life. I got into drones pretty late in life, in my early 40s, and I started off just taking a class and hearing more about drones and thought, okay, this is pretty interesting. And at the time, it was pretty new and emerging, and we're talking about maybe in 2018 or so. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I started off as a teaching assistant to another company mm-hmm. that was focused on drones. They were teaching the Part 107, which is the certification that allows you to be able to make money using your drone. Mm-hmm. And education and curriculum design is definitely a sweet spot for me, teaching So I had the opportunity to dive into the content, and I thought, wow, this is, pretty interesting stuff. This is the FAA's exam for all commercial drone pilots, and I got all of the curriculum together, quizzes, walked into the classroom and just saw not one person that looked like me. And I thought, okay, this is an opportunity. That's kind of what popped into my head.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought was that these concepts are not too difficult for a young person to understand. And when I learned that you only had to be 16 years of age in order to get a certification to be able to fly drones commercially, 14 years old to test, I just thought to myself, this is an amazing opportunity for youth. And being that the room was filled with a sea of men, I just thought, okay, you know what? This might be an opportunity for women like me. Instead of me just saying, I'm going to go and teach it, I don't believe in not walking the walk yourself.
Yeah.
So I then went ahead and procrastinated for 2 months on taking my own FAA remote pilot exam.
Okay.
Even though I had written the curriculum, I just kept talking myself out of it. I was telling myself, well, this is a federal certification. That's not me. I can't do that. Then I reminded myself how long it had been since I had taken a standardized type exam. And I just knew that I had to do it. And if I'm going to be a role model, I wanted to make sure that, I held this certification myself. And I actually took an online class to help me prepare for my Part 107. Was able to pass it with a 90 on my first try. Yes! I was so nervous. I literally was panicked outside in my car waiting to go into the testing center. But I decided, you know what, there's no better time than the present, and let me just go in and take care of this. I got my certification, and at that point, I knew that my business was born. It was time for me to create a path and a pipeline of youth that could learn about the opportunity with drones and how they could actually develop, careers from this thing that I call that maybe their grandmother might have given them and is sitting in their closet collecting dust.
Yeah.
But it's not just a toy. It is a full-blown career path that can set you off into a number of different industries. And it's been my joy for the past 6 years to really teach young girls and women. I just had an inaugural class of women students this past 2 weeks ago. So they completed their first class, and I get them certified. So there's a certification for recreational pilots as well as commercial pilots. And it's just really been my joy. It's never really felt like work. Every day I wake up with purpose, knowing that I am the example for an 8-year-old who may have never even thought of a career in aviation. Until I show them that, yes, I fly drones myself, and this is something that you can also do. And we're talking about a career path that does not require a college degree. So I think that that's another really big opportunity, that it does not require all of these extra credentials other than you basically being of sound mind, being able to communicate well and being able to pass this FAA exam. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for youth and for women in the space.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are just joining me, this is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio, and I am interviewing the amazing Roxane Romulus. She is the owner and founder and CEO of Black Girl Drone World, which is a fabulous company that teaches women and young girls how to fly drones and helps them to get their FAA drone license. And I think she does a whole lot more than that, but she's really not saying it yet, but we're going to get it out of her.
few things in my back pocket. Yes, I do.
But Roxane, you are so right. A lot of people, I've had neighbors who've had drones and they just kind of fly them around the neighborhood and walk with them or whatever. And I see them, there for a while, probably pre-COVID. I used to see people with them all the time. I see few and few now. But because they probably put them in the closet, now they're collecting dust. But I never thought about careers in drones or getting a license. I did not know that was a thing until you and I talked a few months ago. I'm like, a drone license? Why do you need a drone license?
So, first and foremost, it's about safety.
Okay.
A drone can be very dangerous, in the wrong hands or in uneducated hands. And most of us will probably take something out of the box and just tinker with it and not even look at the instructions. So I want to create a safe space for people who want to fly for fun and also understand the rules. There are specific rules that the FAA has put in place for recreational flyers. And maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they actually rolled out a certification exam for recreational flyers that's called Trust, that allows you to have fun with your drone, but also make sure that you are being very cautious, making sure you're not flying in the wrong places at the wrong time, or putting yourself or others in danger. So that's the first certification that you should get, like, right out of the box, is getting your Trust certification, making sure that you're flying in a safe manner, and safety is always top of mind. The FAA offers a second certification related to drones that is called the FAA Part 107. And the Part 107 allows you to fly your drone and have your cousin, your aunt hand you some money for your time and effort for taking pictures at the wedding, or maybe taking a couple of pictures of their roof. So that brings you into the realm of a commercial drone pilot. That exam is quite extensive, I would say, and it teaches you a lot of concepts that you would learn as, a regular pilot. You have to understand mapping. You have to understand a lot of specific terminology that's used, because if something were to happen, the FAA wants to make sure that you understand how to communicate with them in case of an emergency, and you know what to do in case of an emergency. Right now, there are very few women that have their remote pilot certification, that have this Part 107. And the industry is about 92% male. So 92% male and 8% women. However, of that 8%, I think it might even be just 3% or less that are women of color. Wow. Yes. So I use that as pretty much my driving force for talking as much as I possibly can about the opportunity here. It is an emerging area in tech. There are so many applications for drones that you would not think of, that I try to make sure that I educate youth on, and a lot of our adult students that aren't just not aware of how frequent drones are being used. Law enforcement, hand in hand, they're using drones all the time to support their operations. They're used in search and rescue. As you could imagine, there's so much more territory that you can see from up above. We have drones that have heat sensors that can see in the dark, that give you a much better advantage and can find people in a much faster manner than people who are on the ground. They have a use for insurance. Right now, there are a lot of natural disasters that are happening, and insurance companies need to be able to survey damage. And drone pilots are one of the first few people that they call in, because they can get a close view of the property or the building without them getting themselves close to it, which is definitely an advantage. We're also using it in healthcare. You would not think, oh my goodness, healthcare and drones.
Really?
Yes. Healthcare
Wow.
really helped to save the day during COVID because they were delivering PPE, the gloves, all the equipment that hospitals needed on the rooftops via drone.
Wow. I did not know that. I mean, I remember, well, not I remember. I know being part of the military, we have had drones for quite a long time. But, you know, it was just some simple military applications. But I've had people that I know in STEM that have taught children how to do drone competitions, but I've never really looked into the fact of adults getting careers and, you know, using drones in actual real world applications. So in talking to you, this is more information that, I mean, I could ever imagine getting.
It's a huge opportunity, and I will say for, you know, our community, it tends to be, we get into things very late.
Yeah.
You know, just think about when, you know, computers started coming out, cyber jobs started coming out. You know, we tend to just get into it when it's already very saturated.
Yep.
And it's still, being a drone pilot is still very niche. I mean, I don't know if this has been around 10 years yet.
I don't think so.
Yes, so we're talking about still in the infancy stages of opportunity for people to enter into the industry, and just such a great opportunity, even if you didn't want to do it full time. I'm a sole and strong believer in multiple streams of income, and you want to give yourself the freedom to be able to have a secondary skill, you know, where you could go and be your own independent contractor, do a couple of jobs, and I would say that salary is pretty good. I think the starting hourly rate could be anywhere from $65 to $75 an hour.
Really?
And your job might not even take an hour.
Ooh. I may have to get my drone license. I was talking to my son about it the other day, and I was talking to Gabe about it this week. You know, they were talking about how drones are being used in television or movies, and, you know, getting those shots that you have to pay for those really expensive cranes to get up there. Now they're doing those same shots with drones.
And they used to be helicopters.
Yep.
Very expensive helicopters that they would have to hire. And now, to be quite honest, I don't know if I'll ever watch a movie or even a TV show the same way, because I can spot the drone shot out of nowhere. And it's so common and so frequent that drones are being used. I mean, I'm here in Atlanta, which is, I call it the land of TV and film. So it's such a great opportunity for you here to have that skill in their back pocket.
Now, tell me, how do you identify a drone shot when you're watching television or watching a movie?
You know, it's usually the angle and the speed at which it's moving. Usually what comes to my mind is that this would be impossible for someone to do with a regular camera. It's obvious. It is very obvious that you could not do it with a standalone camera. Usually there'll be like shots in between, you know, trees, or mimicking or giving you the feeling that you are actually doing the movement yourself. I think that is one of the wonderful features of being able to use a drone in television and film. It makes you feel like you're part of the scene versus just watching the scene. So yes, I definitely can spot it out of nowhere. It's probably driving my family crazy. I'm like, that's a drone shot, you know. I'll be the first one to point it out.
See, now you're gonna make me look out for those shots.
Absolutely. Yeah, film, TV, you know, videography, and you know, aerial photos are pretty much one of the more common, you know, applications of drones that people tend to think of. But if you think about how, you know, drones are really helping to solve some real world problems. You know, we have some some areas that may have infrastructure problems, difficulty, getting supplies from one place to another. And those supplies can be delivered in a very short period of time, overcoming, any challenges that are related to the terrain via drone. And it's really saving lives if you really think about how innovative people are becoming with what they can do with a drone.
Yeah, I mean that's just amazing. I'm sitting here and I'm just going through my head all of the different applications, and considering the fact that I was one of the many people that was still in the military when Katrina hit, and I ran I didn't run. I worked in one of the emergency operations centers where I talked to FEMA and General Honore and all of those people on a daily basis. And I'm quite sure drones or something had to have been used to kind of fly through New Orleans to identify areas and people, and to try to look at what was going on. But now, and back then it was probably harder to coordinate all of that. Now, you don't having enough people or having people to do some of that emergency response type things with drones is probably a up and coming career, but it's not totally there yet because people aren't looking at it that way.
Well, I kind of look at it as, if you know,
Yeah.
And, our industry is covering so many different, verticals that's so prominent in real estate. You can't really even sell a property without that perfect drone shot that gives that potential buyer that real view of how much land they're going to get from up above. So that's a key selling point and helps them with their marketing. So real estate is definitely taking off with drone usage and inspections. You see those large cell towers?
Yep.
A long time ago, that was a person trying to inspect those towers, and now they can do it all via drone. I was just at a conference maybe 2 days ago, and I was thinking about some of the newer applications that I had not thought about, but window washing. Drones are being used to wash windows. So I remember, maybe I'm dating myself, when I worked in my corporate office, and then I'd be spooked out because there'd be someone all of a sudden that would just appear on the window on the side of the building washing the windows. And now all of that can be done via drone. I mean, just imagine how much safer it is, to be able to leverage technology to handle those types of high-risk jobs. So now you could do it all via drone.
Yep. Now, I want to ask some questions about what it is you do, and I want to start with the courses or the training that you do for young ladies. What ages do you start with, and what kind of training do you do? And then later I want to talk about, the older girls and we adult women. So tell us about your courses that you have for young girls.
Okay, so our signature course is called Drones Taking Flight. We teach youth, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the concepts of avionics. So this is just everything that is used to communicate, everything that's used to help the drone fly. So we're talking about the sensors, the GPS, the radar. I'm also teaching them about aerodynamics because a drone looks very different than a plane. So what are the concepts that allow that drone to take flight, to hover, to rotate? That's probably one of my most fun parts of the class. And we build drones. We code drones. Yes, we build them, we code them, and we fly them. Yes.
Wait, you said you code them? So there are some coding applications in operating drones. It's not just the joystick type thing?
That is correct.
Wow.
You can use Scratch, which is a pretty common coding platform that kids are using in school.
Mm-hmm.
But you can imagine how much fun it is for them to program a whole flight plan for their drone using coding.
Oh, see, I learned something new every day. I didn't know that aspect was there. And what age group are we looking at when we talk about that course?
We have students as young as 8 participating in our class. Yes, 8 years old. And we also focus on aviation just in general, making sure they understand the FAA, understanding rules and requirements, and also getting their minds open to being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really important part of what we teach, because I didn't learn, how to write a business plan until I was in college. And I want the mindset to just be like a very normal, common thing that you can create your own business, you can develop your own mission statement, your vision statement, and leveraging drones. And figuring out how are you going to use your drone for good. I had one student that, this was during COVID, that she made soap. And that was her fun thing to do. And she wanted to have a business where she could deliver her soap door to door, to help with safety and keeping your hands clean during COVID. Just really sparking their imaginations and letting them know that you too can be a business owner. It's not something you just see on TV. It's very commonplace, and you can be in that position of a CEO, just like me.
Okay. Now, what about your older girls or your women? What do you have for them?
So the women's classes, we cover similar concepts, but we do spend a significant amount of time on the career path, making sure that they understand the different uses and different paths that they can go into, because for them, they're only one step away from being able to actually get their certification. Our younger students have to wait a little while. You can be 14 to test, but you have to be 16 to actually use the license. So we focus on the applications of drones in different industries to kind of spark their minds and ideas of, okay, if I do this part-time, full-time, how can I actually leverage, this certification to my benefit? So the adults, my first inaugural class was fantastic. As you can imagine, a lot of people don't know much about drones.
I don't. I thought it was just a toy that kids learned how to do competitions with, and I've said that like 4 times during this interview. But and then you have old friends who've got them and they take pictures. Like we had a picture took of a group of us at a barbecue last year. That's all I know about drones.
It's so much fun to really enlighten all of my students and anyone who really wants to know about drones, because they've been around for a very long time. I mean, of course, when we think about military, you can't watch the news now and not hear them talk about drones. All right, so now with everything that's going on, the drones are very commonplace in terms of what they're talking about. But it's interesting for me to teach students that a drone can be as small as something that fits in the palm of your hand, or as big as a plane.
I didn't know that.
Big as a plane.
Big. Wow.
Yep, and that, the military now, drones are pretty much the way of war. Keeping, people safe from being on the ground and having to do, foot soldiers. Now you are leveraging drones to really handle, combat. And it's really interesting to make sure that, folks understand that there's so many different types of drones, that they all don't look the same. Not all of them have propellers on them. Not all of them are using a remote that you have in your hand. Some of them can be put into a machine that actually propels them. The use of GPS. Some of them are completely autonomous. meaning that you just program where they need to go, they know where they need to go, and they know how to come exactly back home without you having to touch the remote at all. Yeah, so it's so interesting and fun to learn about drones, to see the different functionality, and they're always adding new and fun applications all the time. So you mentioned, that the kids are playing with the drones, and they have light shows.
Oh,
right? So light shows have become very, very, very popular. There's new sporting events that are based around drones. There's drone soccer.
Really?
Yes, drone soccer works very similar, but now the drone is encased in like a protective ball. And the goal is for each team to get their drone through a goal. And it has become very, very popular. I mean, there's a whole, drone soccer league. And high school students get different teams and compete against each other for pretty great prizes. There's also drone racing. I forgot about that as well. You can watch that on TV on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, I'm going to have to look for that. I didn't know that existed.
Yep, so if you have the gaming skills, I always say that, drones are really great for anyone that loves playing video games because the concepts are pretty similar. Some folks are getting paid pretty good money to race these drones and getting large cash sum prizes, and very young drone pilots as well. So, there's just lots of fun applications of it as well, for entertainment purposes. And, there's nothing like watching a drone light show. It's pretty amazing, to watch. I took my children to Disney, and it was just wow. They just kept saying wow the entire time. And it's also more safe than standard, fireworks. So the safety component is there as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at it this way and listening to you. Drones are taking over what a fireworks show could be, and they're also taking over the job of what we used to consider a carrier pigeon. They go and they come back from a specific location. But hey, this is amazing, Roxane. I mean, amazing. Now,
thank you.
We kind of got off a little bit because we were talking about the education and the career path for an adult young lady who wants to do this to be their own entrepreneur, to be their own boss. So what would kind of be the career path for one of us?
So the good thing about this is that anyone who is interested can get into this industry. You just need the right training and the right mentorship. Now, as I say that, the numbers don't lie. There's a reason why things have been, predominantly male-oriented in the in this position, and the reason why companies like mine exist is to change that. So there have been some barriers to entry. Some of it is obvious; it's just training or just access to training. Finding the right company that can prepare you for this particular career. And I will say, the FAA's exam. When you take that Part 107, it's going to get you very prepared for emergencies, understanding the sky, understanding a lot of concepts that, commercial pilots deal with on a day-to-day basis, but what it's not going to teach you is how to fly your drone.
Okay.
So a lot of people get this certification and then they say, okay, now what? What am I supposed to do now? How do I actually, fly this thing? So one of the benefits of what we offer in our in-person classes is having that hands-on experience while you're in the class, making sure that you understand, what you're supposed to do pre-flight, what you're supposed to do post-flight. And I think that is really invaluable to have that hands-on experience on flying. Another way, because I have a lot of moms, dads that come to me with their sons.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, my son would love to do this, and I'm quite intentional about my focus on women and girls of color, and there are a number of training courses, classes, camps that are co-ed.
Mm-hmm.
But I started this for women and girls of color really to change that very low percentage to get us in to something that is emerging right now, that is still small. So in the United States, there are probably about 380,000 people who have this certification.
Really?
And yes, in the entire United States, that is all. And I just keep in mind, 92% of those are male.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to be able to give this information to a broader audience if someone was not in Atlanta, not able to make it to one of our in-person classes. So we do have our course online.
That's what I'm looking at now. I'm at your website. So y'all, if you want to learn more about drones, you can always go to blackgirldroneworld.com. Let me put my glasses on and make sure I'm saying that right.
You are.
That's blackgirldroneworld.com. And I mean, it's so much information here. The in-person courses, the online courses, and what they cost. And I'm looking at the cost, y'all. The cost is really not that expensive. Hopefully they can do it like a step at a time with you. But this is just so interesting. And you've got so much great information here.
Thank you so much. We do offer, so if you come to an in-person class, we just ask for 2 Saturdays of your time.
Oh, really?
And that's it, just 2 Saturdays a month. We host the in-person classes. They're in Buckhead, and we keep you for maybe about 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of that in-person course, you will get your trust certification, which means that you are ready to go to fly as a recreational pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hope that after that, you will stay with us to get your Part 107 training as well.
Now, how long is your Part 107 training?
So right now it's a number of modules. So it's all offered online. So it's about 8 different modules for our Part 107 course. But again, I took a Part 107 online class, and I felt that it was kind of the best approach for me. I was a very busy mom. I had young children, and I wanted to have the flexibility of being able to pop in and pop out of the class when it was most convenient for me. So that was why I said, all right, you know what, I think that this would be a great channel for women, moms, people who may have another career and they're just dipping their toe into drones, to be able to offer them something via an online course. And our courses are on Teachable.
You said the courses are unteachable.
Yes, they're on Teachable. The platform.
Oh, they're on Teachable.
Yes.
Okay. They're on the platform on Teachable. I thought you said they're unteachable. I'm like, whoa, wait.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Just in case somebody was listening like I was, it was like, wait, what? Hey,
yes.
Roxane.
We offer the courses on Teachable.
Okay. All right. I'm looking here, and my last question before I go to the next thing. Once you get your FAA license, do you have to renew every year or every so many years, or what is the upkeep or maintenance of that license?
Yes, you have to renew your Part 107 every 2 years.
Okay.
And your trust certification every 3 years.
Okay, that's good to know. That's great to know. Hey, can you believe we have like 5 minutes left in the show?
Do we really?
That's it, Roxane. That is it.
Wow,
So,
I need to make my 5 minutes count.
yeah, so this is your time. You can give shout outs to anybody you want to give shout outs to. You can talk about anything that you may need, or talk about how people can contact you. Take this time and just enjoy this moment.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome, Roxane.
I would just like to say with my last few minutes that if you are a young girl out there who loves technology, you've taken coding classes, you just like to tinker with things. I have a 9-year-old daughter. She loves to tinker with things. And I would strongly think that you should consider drones. Mm-hmm. There's so much that you can do with drones. We talked about the building of them, coding them, and just being able to see the sky while keeping your 2 feet on the ground. There really is no better feeling than that. Mm-hmm. And then I'll also just tell the women that are out there, and specifically women of color, there is a space for you here in the drone industry. And I'm committed to showing you exactly what you need to know, exactly what you need to do. And if you'd like to just learn a little bit more about the course in particular, what we'll cover, I encourage you to go to our join page. So it is join.blackgirldroneworld.com. That is a site specifically for the ladies to tell you everything that you need to know in order to consider a career in this space. And you won't be alone. I will be there with you, walking you through all of the steps, providing you with the necessary mentorship. If you have general questions at all, please reach out to me via email. It is info@blackgirldroneworld.com. And as an entrepreneur, I'm going to say that one of the biggest challenges of running a for-profit entity where you have a strong mission and vision statement and passion for it is funding. So if there are any grant writers that are out there that are interested in STEM, technology, women-owned businesses that have services that would be able to help us advance our mission, please reach out at info@blackgirldroneworld.com. But the sky's the limit, and we can do anything we put our minds to. So I encourage you to take the leap.
Hey, Roxane, I want to thank you for coming on. You have opened my eyes to so much. I mean, and as I've told you, I didn't know 99.9% of the stuff that we talked about today. But hey, now I know, because information is power.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hey, this is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. And Gabe, in my own time, or am I late? Oh, good. I don't want to be late. I want to thank y'all for listening to us. And if you missed this show, or you want to have this show shared with someone, please, they can watch it here on Facebook at Fishbowl Communications or Fishbowl Radio Communications, or on my Facebook platforms, or you can catch us on Spotify, iTunes, and some other places Gabe keep forgetting to tell me about. But I'm gonna blame everything on you. Now you back, Gabe. It's all your fault. So thank y'all, and I will be back next week with 2 wonderful authors who are also military members. So we'll probably have too much fun, but hey, y'all come back, and I'll see y'all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.